with all the professional experience that they bring, they're feeling a lot of pressure going into this, but it also is to their advantage because I think about what wins maps like Lijiang Tower, having a world-class hit-scan player like Taimu and having the Roadhog play of a player like Himsy. I think it's going to edge them just a little bit over Chinese Taipei as they go into this next map.
And I do think, though, even regardless of what happens on this third map, I think this is a good match for both teams, right? I mean, if you're Chinese Taipei, you definitely see where you are in just in terms of scope of the entire exhibition, like where you can play at, like what level. Like you have definitely taken it to Finland. You're not really scared of anybody going forward, I think. And then if you're Finland, I mean, this is a huge wake-up call, right? I mean, they come in pretty confident. They thought they were going to roll through people. That has not been the case.
I think it's interesting because we won't know the full extent of this matchup until we see these teams play another team later on in the group, because you could easily interpret it as either team being much stronger than anticipated or one team being weaker than anticipated. But if they go through and upset another team here in this group later on, it could say a lot about both these teams.
Yep, and I believe last map will be Lijiang Tower. So, on a map like this, CP, I'm really looking at least for me, Taimu, like how he plays going into this one. And I think the story for Chinese Taipei has been Zonda. I think you're going to need a massive game out of Zonda if Chinese Taipei is going to win this.
You absolutely are going to need that massive game out of Zonda, but I do think Taimu might carry the keys to shutting that down, especially if he goes on a McCree. McCree, one of the characters that can really sort of isolate and take care of enemy DPS characters, and there's very few players with more one-on-one experience than Taimu, and we will be seeing Taimu come up on that McCree, and I'd expect him to sort of be hanging back a little bit, looking to punish Zonda wherever possible, and try and remove him from this game.
Yeah, and it'll be Finland looking to start things off probably with that 3-tank lineup. We've been seeing them, obviously, some members of NIP on this team go with that pretty consistently. For Chinese Taipei, it'll be Danny on Mei and Zonda on Reaper. That is really what's been working for them here. It'll be game number 3 between Finland and Chinese Taipei in a huge match here at the Overwatch World Cup. This is a Chinese Taipei team that a lot of people probably before this match started probably thought Finland was just going to roll over. It has not been the case whatsoever. And here at the beginning, you see Himsy putting down some nice damage, and they're able to separate that Reinhardt right from the initial fight there. They'll take out Zonda as well, and now you see Finland taking control of the map.
Well, it's like I mentioned early on, Taimu is going to be isolating out Zonda, and that's exactly what happens right in the beginning of the game. His main duty here is to stop Zonda, stop him from doing what he wants to do. Meanwhile, Himsy is going to be a consistent threat. He's not going to let Chinese Taipei move anywhere as freely as they want. So overall, I think Finland right now starting out strong and very well could stay strong depending on how they play the rest of this.
Yeah, it'll be very difficult for Chinese Taipei to get inside and break this point. You see just the hooks coming in from Himsy, and it's going to be Danny figuring out how to use those main walls to separate the opponents inside this close quarters, and it's going to be Taimu using that Deadeye, just backing Chinese Taipei up. Felt some pressure coming in from the opposing team, and a fantastic Maywall coming in. You saw Taimu in perfect position to take out Zonda there, and with that boost, just not able to get in that position. So you see the interesting ways you can use Maywalls, but as that's going on, you see players inside of the point for Finland starting to drop. It looked like Finland was going to be able to hold on, but it's going to be Zonda pushing through. Ayla take out 2. It's going to be Eddie Ball to 1. A nice knockoff there of Zonda by Cine. Oh, does he get the others? No, they barely stay on the map, trying to just stay alive inside of the point. Does a nice job, though, extending that, earning some more time for Finland.
That was great on Danny, where right before he died, he was able to get the Blizzard off and really pull that fight out of nowhere for Chinese Taipei, because up to that point, Finland was doing great. One thing you should notice is that Taimu was able to take a lot of damage on the Zonda there, where even though Zonda did get that nano boost, if you're really weak HP-wise before you actually get it, it's difficult to commit. So we're going to be seeing more of that going forward, but still, a good retake here by Chinese Taipei, and they have a Graviton here to set up this next fight.
Yeah, they're going to have get close to a Death Blossom as well, it looks like, and they'll have an Earth Shatter too. So Chinese Taipei with that ultimate advantage here early, and see Mapu gonna get sucked into a Graviton, gonna drop a Graviton of his own. Maywall coming in to just block Finland inside of this small courtyard. Zonda with 4 kills there. Taimu's able to take him out, but Finland on the retreat, barely staying alive here. It looks like Taimu will eventually fall. It looks like Zappa's going to get out with his life, but the damage already done as Chinese Taipei coming back here in our first point.
That was a huge team fight win for Chinese Taipei, just because of the fact that both teams threw all their ultimates at each other. You never want to lose an ult showdown, and Chinese Taipei did not. Finland now going to have to come through here. Not a whole lot of ults to their name. They're going to have to be going into a blizzard, so the weather report isn't exactly kind to them either. We'll see if they can clutch out. If they do, it's probably going to be off a quick MC hook, but other than that, Chinese Taipei in a great position here for this fight.
Yeah, and I think if you're Finland, I mean, you got to wait for Cine to get that sound barrier and really play around that. I mean, that's that sustainability you need to get inside, but it's going to be Danny using that Blizzard, dropping down a fantastic Mei wall, eliminating one of the exits for Finland, just going to back them up. They pick up one kill on the Lingzer, and now it's going to be Chinese Taipei taking the fight to Finland. It's going to be Taimu using that Deadeye, though. With the sound barrier, they're able to take out two, and now Finland may be able to swing this in their favor.
Finland, they're able to weather the storm, pull back, get the kills they need, and they are just grinding down Chinese Taipei right now. They're not going to be able to hold on to this fight. But that was a do-or-die situation for them there, X, because you take a look at the percentages here. Chinese Taipei only needs to win one more team fight here to take this round. So Finland, their backs are against the wall. They must win every fight from here on out. But hey, with Nano Boost and Graviton on deck, they have a lot of ways of stopping Chinese Taipei right here.
Yeah, now Lingzer switches things up. He goes from Reinhardt now over to Winston, just getting a little bit more aggression. You're going to see Zappas use that Nano Boost onto Lingzer as he's just going to get into the enemy side of the map. And you see Danny's going to get Nano Boosted onto Mei, so just putting down a lot of damage. He has a Blizzard as well. It's going to be a Graviton coming in from Chinese Taipei because they're winning a lot of these engagements. ZP is going to be Lingzer just trying to stay alive. Jumps up in the sky. He's going to fall. It's going to be Chinese Taipei getting on the point here. This could be our first point going to Chinese Taipei here shortly.
It is almost certainly going to be the first point going there. Finland might be able to cause overtime here, but they won't even be able to do that. And the key there is that Finland, even though they had an edge ult-wise going into that last fight, they still overextended a bit. And you take a look back at Temple Anubis where Taimu was a bit out of position. I feel like that's somewhat of a trend developing with Finland where when they have an advantage, sometimes they just overtake it a little bit, and it kind of bit them there. Now, this is, of course, a best out of 5 round-wise here on Lijiang. Plenty of time for Finland to bring it back, but you got to think that they're not feeling super great about losing that first round.
No, not at all. In that first round, you saw Lazy Titan go 14-2 on Zarya, doing a fantastic job keeping the supports for Chinese Taipei alive. With both supports combined, Eddie Boss and Lilgo, they only died one time there in that first point. Finland has to be feeling the pressure right now. Chinese Taipei, 2 rounds here on Lijiang Tower away from taking this series.
So you do see a switch up here. Part of it is that the control center is much more friendly to Reaper than it is McCree. But Zonda can be a little bit more freer here. He doesn't have to worry about the McCree isolation. It's going to be pure Reaper on Reaper action. And Taimu think he's going to bring the better Reaper of the two, as right now, Finland doing a little bit better on this poke war.
Yeah, now you see Himsy on Roadhog, just laying down a hook there, not able to get anybody, just kind of poking and prodding behind enemy lines here. He sees Danny there for a second. Danny puts himself in his ice cube, just trying to stay alive here. And now Himsy finally connects on a hook, though. They're going to be able to take out Baby Nai, and now it's going to be an advantage for Finland.
Finland off that first pickoff, they're going to restabilize. They get 2 kills. They're about to get their 3rd. So they're in a good position here. And what that means is that usually when you win the first fight pretty convincingly, you will have an ult advantage going to the next fight. Not quite as much as you might expect here, though. They will have Earth Shatter, Nano Boost, Sound Barrier. Chinese Taipei going to be a little bit waiting on that Sound Barrier. So for them, one of their best options here would just be to go for a Junk Rush, get wiped by Finland using their ultimates, and then come back right after. But either way, Finland probably going to have 40% at least before Chinese Taipei is able to retake this. But hey, yeah, Danny has Blizzard. Here we go.
I was going to say you actually could use the Nano Boost and combine it with that Blizzard and see if you can make something happen here for Chinese Taipei. And Zonda gets through. He's able to take out 2, but you see Taimu in your kill feed at the top right. He's able to win 2 engagements for Finland. And now he's going to work his way back towards the point. He's got 2 teammates there in support, so a fairly easy hold there for Finland through those Chinese Taipei ultimates. They survive. And now Chinese Taipei, this next fight, they use that Nano Boost in the Blizzard, but they will have a Death Blossom. They'll have a Graviton Surge to use on this next one.
Chinese Taipei is in a great position here. Even though they used the Blizzard and they didn't quite win the fight, they still have a lot of ult in reserve. They're going to be coming with the Sound Barrier, Graviton, Death Blossom, everything on the table. And now they just roll right into Finland as Zonda picks up a quick double kill.
And make it 3 for Zonda. He uses the Death Blossom. He's going to be quickly put to sleep there. And just a fantastic job for Chinese Taipei, protecting him there while he's on the ground, lets himself wake up from that nap, get back on the point. Finland gets 65% in their favor here early, and now Chinese Taipei gets control. They're going to push pretty far up, and I wonder if they're going to play a pretty aggressive defense here, ZP. Use this Mei wall to their advantage to try and separate this push of Finland. They do that initially, now they back out. I like the decision, you know, you make one wrong move there, you get wiped, and then the map goes to Finland.
Absolutely, and you take a look at Finland right now, they do have Earth Shatter and Nano Boost up. That Nano Boost could go to Lingzer, or Lingzer though, open up here with the Earth Shatter, but the Blizzard does so much in the back. 3 people have died now from Danny and the positioning, but Taimu doing the same in the back line. It is the Taimu and Danny show right now between the both of them. Still, though, it is Chinese Taipei with a little bit more of an edge. They push Finland out, and they're going to hold.
Yeah, and Eddie Boss has done a fantastic job just playing behind that cover as Anna, keeping his teammates alive, keeping himself out of position where, the enemy team can just whether connect with a Roadhog hook or able to take him out. Doing a fantastic job using Anna's kit to the best of her abilities, just keeping that healing going at range. And you see they're actually going to wall off Linkser there, so it looks like you're going to see Chinese Taipei try and engage pretty quick.
They are going to try and engage pretty quick. The ice wall almost trapped one out for Finland. Finland having to give this Mei a lot more respect than I think they really wanted to early on. They do have the Whole Hog and Death Blossom half already, but Ice Wall's playing them off once more. Still, Mafu gets rid of the problem. Danny's down. Zonda is down, and Taimu starts spinning. It's 2 quick picks here from the side of Finland, and they will be retaking this right here, X.
Yeah, but Chinese Taipei gets a lot on the board there, ZP. They get up to 72%. You'll see Finland quickly answer that. They'll tie it and then move past it here before the next fight ensues. But you see how aggressive Himsy is getting, and you see the nano boost coming in there for Finland. It's going to be Linkser getting up towards the Chinese Taipei base, and you see it's going to be 2 kills for Finland. They're doing a nice job just taking the fight to them because they know they wiped them here, ZP. It's going to be very difficult for Chinese Taipei to get back and make a good push.
With only about 10% left here for Chinese Taipei, they're going to have to get someone to get through and actually touch a point. And this is what they're going to do. They're going to speed boost Sound Bear, but they're going to run right in. Well, they're going to Graviton Finland, in fact, try and hold in the back, try and buy some time to get on the point, but they lose lazy time for it, and they're not able to get the overtime in progress. So Finland striking right back, 1-1 here on Lijiang.
Well, no, what they did there is they tried to use the sound barrier with that speed boost, and they used the Graviton. Great idea, right? But on the other side of things, Himsy has that Roadhog, Whole Hog, and it's just knocking Chinese Taipei back. The speed boost, they were not able to get by, not able to touch the point. Finland takes the 2nd point here on Lijiang Tower.
Really, for Chinese Taipei, they didn't have a whole lot of options left at that point. What they did was probably the best option to try and get through. But when you're not running a Tracer, when you're not running anything that can get into overtime, and when you're just, if they had 5% more X, that actually could have been a completely different fight. But fortunately, time was not on their side.
Nope, not at all, ZP. It's tied at 1 apiece here on Lijiang Tower. Going into this 3rd point. Not now. Are we gonna? All right. Well, we're gonna see Bastion here for Chinese Taipei. It's like, well, they're playing with house money. It's like nobody expected to be here. Well, let's do something crazy. Bring Bastion to the party, and it's gonna be Danny putting down a lot of damage here at range. Has his Reinhardt directly in front of him, putting that shield up. And Finland's probably caught completely off guard by this. They have no idea how to attack it.
Danny, a man of many talents, and right now Finland is caught a little bit off guard. They're losing the poke war because of this Bastion. Lynx are going to be the first to fall as Reinhardt shield just could not withstand. As Danny right now laying in the damage, pushing back Finland, and this Bastion X has done his job.
Oh, I mean, it has worked to perfection here early for Chinese Taipei. And I wonder, ZP, is it like something where off the rip, right, you can use it and really catch Finland off guard, and then you got to switch off of it early, or are they just going to kind of commit to this Bastion? It'll be interesting if we see Danny drop what he goes with it, and how do we see Finland counter this?
For Finland, they just need to catch a Bastion off guard. They are still running the Roadhog. 1 good hook is all it takes. And also, I think if Finland does take this back X, you're going to see the Bastion go away, just because he's good for the early fight and good for contesting, good for holding, but not so great for retaking. But here we go. Taimu going to the back. Sound Bearer is out, looking for that all-important first kill. Does not have it here yet, as Chinese Taipei giving him a little bit of a runaround, but still, first 2 kills going here the way of Finland.
Yeah, it's going to be Finland cleaning up the members of Chinese Taipei. You actually saw Chinese Taipei use their nano boost on tank mode. Bastion did not work. Zonda's going to go for a ride off the side of the map. Now Chinese Taipei will reset. It looks like Danny's still going to be on Bastion. So it works early, ZP. I don't know if I would commit to it for an extended period of time, but it looks like they're going to go with it 1 more fight at least.
I'm a little bit surprised by this, just because when we've seen teams run Bastion on this point before, it's really hard to make it work when retaking the point. Teams can play around it much more. There's a lot of room to maneuver here on the Garden stage, so we'll see if it works out. They're going to try and set this up here with a Graviton into Death Blossom. So ult-wise, it's not too bad for Chinese Taipei. The question is, can they get Dan to the fight? But he takes down Linkser. 65 is underway.
Yeah, big first kill there from Danny. Still running Bastion. Zonda has that Death Blossom. Doesn't really need to use it, though. He's able to pick up 2. The Graviton comes in, and he's going to use it at the end of this fight. I feel like they would have won that regardless. I think he probably could have held on to that one, but Zonda's feeling it right now, picks up the remaining players on Finland, and now they set it with Bastion yet again.
That was an explosion by Zonda towards the end. And honestly, I think it's catching Linkser a little bit off guard. This is where more veteran Reinhardts kind of know how to deal with this, but I doubt Linkser has done the entire Reinhardt v Bastion setup here, where he got picked off earlier in the map, got picked off there again. I don't think he really needed to get picked off. So right now for Danny, this is really catching Lynx are off guard, but look at this. 5 ultimates banked up here for Finland. They have all the power in the world as they roll in. This is going to be hard for Chinese Taipei to win this fight.
Yeah, but it looks like Finland is just kind of trapped behind this pillar right here. Just does not know how to attack this Bastion setup. You're going to have Himsy switch over to Genji. Obviously, Genji a fantastic counter to Bastion, but it's going to be Danny taking him out early. And look, Finland's just trapped behind that pole, ZP. They can't get out. And it looks like Taimu is going to be able to get one, but it's going to be the rest of Chinese Taipei chasing down the members on Finland. And Finland's going to pick up 2 kills here late in the fight. It's going to be important for Danny to just keep this fire constantly coming, forcing Finland back.
So the part where that went bad for Finland is they couldn't speed boost at Soundbear, and Lynx Jusani got picked off early. Here we go, though. Nano boost going in here on the tank. Not able to get too much right now. Graviton limiting his mobility severely, but towards the latter in the fight. Takes down Mafu. It's a double kill for Chinese Taipei, but the ultimate to Finland just too much. Nano boosted Reaper to the rescue. That's going to be a 4K for Taimu.
Yeah, there's a lot of things that make Bastion immobile. Just being Bastion, he is immobile, but right there, he was put in a position with the Graviton where he could not move in tank mode. Only able to get 2 players. Taimu comes in with the Death Blossom, picks up the rest, but Chinese Taipei gets 97% on the score. You see they have a very good chance if they win one of these next team fights, they're able to close this out. It's going to be Himsy starting things off though with 2 big kills with the Dragon Blade. He's going to get a 3rd. Mafu and Lynx are coming in, cleaning up some more players. Eddie Boss, the only one alive. Finally, he falls. So a full team wipe there for Finland, but Chinese Taipei, they do have that Earthshatter to work with here in this next fight.
They will have that Earthshatter. Himsy switches to the Genji. Even though Roadhog is decent for catching Bastion out of place, Genji a little bit better for applying pressure. And now it will all come down to this last fight. You take a look, there's going to be Graviton, Earthshatter up for Chinese Taipei. Finland relatively bankrupt on ultimates, and the fight is underway.
Yeah, and you see Danny just trying to lay down some fire. Knows Himsy's behind him, just trying to hope he can put down enough damage to just make a difference as Bastion, but he is going to fall. Lynxer swinging his hammer inside the point, doing a ton of work as well. And it's just going to be all down to Zonda trying to stay alive as Tracer keeping this overtime going. And it looks like they're just having a difficult time tracking him. Finally, they're able to take him out. But it's going to be Bastion just around the corner as you see the Graviton come in. He's not able to get close towards the point. And I liked Bastion at the beginning, CP. Towards the end, I started to have mixed feelings about it. I think he probably could have switched there.
He absolutely should have switched, especially when Timsy was on the Genji and really getting his face. By the way, I love the Graviton spot that Mafu went there for. It's pretty common to see nowadays, but you throw the Graviton at the wall, you pull people to their death. Unfortunately, of course, or probably fortunately for Finland, they'd already won the map, so for us, the viewer, we didn't get to see it, but it's still a cool Graviton spot.
Yeah, no, it's one of those plays where you see that happen on Reddit, and then you go into the game and you try it yourself. Does not work as intended, but they try it there at the end. And it will be Finland up 2-1 here on Lijiang Tower in our 3rd map here. Chinese Taipei has played absolutely amazing up to this point. We saw, them put a good showing on the first point here when we got there originally on Lijiang. Look for them to really put a good foot effort forward here. So you see it's going to be Zonda on your screen now, trying to get forward as Reaper. Just putting down a lot of shots. It looks like Chinese Taipei, instead of taking this mid-map control ZP, they're going to go and set back up by the point.
They are going to the point, and Danny able to land that shot on the Sandy. Sandy gets picked off early, and when you're down to Lucio early on King of the Hill, it makes it really difficult to recover. Himsy has not been able to equalize this yet, has not gotten a pick off, and even though Finland is laying in the poke damage, Chinese Taipei in a vastly superior position right now. That hook's going to miss, and Chinese Taipei, they should be able to hold this for at least 20%.
I mean, just by getting that first kill from Danny onto Cine, they're able to just take the first part of this point. And now you see the nano boost coming in on Baby 9, just doing a lot of damage. Mafu's able to handle him, but just causes so much chaos on the Finland side of things. They need just a second to reset before they go in, try and take the point.
And now Finland applying the pressure. It's Himsy really opening it up with 2 great hooks. Chinese Taipei on the back foot. Zonda trying to make anything happen here in the back. Is outgunned, and there's Himsy once more. Free hugs for everyone, says Himsy, as his Roadhog is just cracking open this point.
Yeah, and it's going to be Finland able to get back control. So Chinese Taipei, just at the beginning of this, does a good job getting that map control, led by Danny getting that first pick on a Cine. But now you see Chinese Taipei trying to break here, ZP. They do have the Blizzard, they have a Sound Barrier and a Graviton. You expect to see at least 2 of those here. You're going to see the Sound Barrier. You're going to see Himsy fall first, and the Graviton comes in, and you see Lazy Titan picking up 2. This should be fights that you think Chinese Taipei can win. They just need to get back towards that point and get control.
when you get a fight set up that well by a Graviton Sound Bearer, it's really hard to actually lose it. Taimu, when the last one's remaining, nothing you can do in that situation. Just as good as McCree you might be, just not enough room to maneuver. So Chinese Taipei will be retaking the point, and otherwise they still have tools for next fight. Danny has been very on point on his blizzards, and oh no, Himsy once more coming in on Zonda, but he's not able to land the burst damage. Zonda stays alive, in no small part due to Eddie Bosch just healing him there, and as a result, Chinese Taipei going to delay Finland even more.
Yeah, Zonda doing a fantastic job staying alive, had some teammate support there. Taimu just coming out of nowhere, had Zappis there for support. Just a fantastic play by Finland, and you see Taimu's going to use that Deadeye, not going to get anything for it, but Mafu going to clean up will go, as now you see this Lucio for Chinese Taipei down. Now you see Finland trying to make a push towards the point.
Finland in a great position here, in part due to that pickoff by Taimu. He read Zonda like a book, went right in, and Finland, they will be retaking this point, but X, their margin for error here is pretty much gone. At 75% for Chinese Taipei, they're one team fight away basically from winning this. Maybe Finland gets an overtime push, but even then it's going to be rough. So Finland, really they have to win the next 4 fights in a row, and they're going to have to be very good in their ult economy to do this, because if they waste too many ults to win a fight, Chinese Taipei should be able to punish them and win this map.
Yeah, we need to see Finland use a little bit of patience, CP, right? I mean, we talked a little bit about it on Temple of Anubis. They got a little bit aggressive, and they end up giving up that point to Chinese Taipei. Is how we find ourselves here in the 3rd map, and it's going to be Zonda getting that nano boost, has the Death Blossom as well. Has not found a great spot to use it. Linkser knocks him down, pins him up against the wall, and then he's quickly dealt with by Taimu. Taimu with 2 big kills on McCree, starting to heat up ZP. Taimu with 50 kills, 9 deaths at this moment in time, going absolutely huge here on our 3rd map.
That is one thing that fans of Overwatch should not be surprised at. Taimu going huge, one of the more consistent players in the scene. And really, this could be his game right now. 20% left remaining. If Finland can hold this, that would be great for them. Linkser takes down Danny early on this fight. Himsy at the follow through. 2 members of Chinese Taipei are down. And Finland, one more team fight away, X, from taking the map and the series.
And you see Zonda gets nano boosted there towards the end, but it is not enough to keep him alive. Eddie Boss with a sleep dart, but the Graviton comes in for Finland. And they get control, ZP, 99. It is going to tick in Finland's favor. They take the map in the series 2-1 over Chinese Taipei.
And that was the thing, is that fight lasted a little bit too long towards the end, so Chinese Taipei didn't even get that final push. Finland coming out strong, able to fix their mistakes, and that being said, what a great series between both teams.
Yeah, now you saw Taimu finish 52-10. Mafu, though, on Zarya, making some big plays, goes 53-8 as Finland narrowly escapes Chinese Taipei 2-1. Incredible series from both teams. Let's hear more about it from the desk.
Whew, thank you so much, Mr. X and ZP. That was a hell of a match to cast and a really, really amazing game to see how that all went down. So, guys, want to start us off with a bit of a breakdown, a little overhead before we get into the nitty-gritty details?
Yeah, I mean, obviously we were talking up the praises of Finland, but I think we should sing a little bit of praises for Chinese Taipei to begin with. Throughout the whole series, we were looking at a number of players. Lazy Titan certainly comes to mind on the Zarya, some real big plays from him. Obviously Zonda, we mentioned Zonda right at the start, constantly getting the Reaper Copter going over and over again with the nano boost.
Yeah, that was quite important there as well. But even in situations where Zonda had to play in a little bit more of a low economy situation where you don't actually get a nano boost, you don't even get as eye shield or a speed boost sometimes. The old-fashioned sort of Reaper there. He also showed that he could dive a backline and just use direct fire with that ult to get work done there as well. I think Temple of Anubis was just a testament to the strength of Chinese Taipei there as well, especially on that second hold. You know, the speed they're able to come back forward and retake the point, I really have to call out. I think Baby now played that one generally quite well. There's a bit of a slight gaff, which I want to look at a little bit later on for those who maybe not sure about how to play the Reinhardt versus Reinhardt chess game. But Danny going for that Mei on the point. I mean, it's hard to deal with. It is Mei. She, you know, cuts off a lot of space and makes it very, very hard for attacking teams to establish. And that was a big part of that first map.
Yeah, here we have the replay of Lazy Titan. It's a great Graviton surge. And he's just dealing so much damage. That Mei, I mean, they're just blowing everything here, and it's just worked out for them. Really pretty.
Nano v Nano.
Something we noticed actually was Lazy Titan got nano boosted quite a few times in there. It wasn't just Zonda getting the love from
Yeah,
Yana.
that's quite unusual to see the Zarya nano boosted, but it worked out for them. I mean, Lazy Titan is very impressive so far.
Yeah, and it does obviously give you a pretty respectable amount of damage increase. You can even hear it while you're using the particle cannon. It revs up even more. But this was Zonda just doing Zonda things. He's going full Apache here. Just the one kill on the point here, but you can see that both times Chinese Taipei didn't have any problems really getting their ducks boxed in a line when they went towards his first point specifically, it seemed like Finland weren't able to hold them at bay here at all.
Yeah, it was the struggle, and obviously with Finland only capping out in overtime, it gave them 0 time to hold it. They just had to try and hang on in there, and obviously we saw Taimu started making a number of adjustments. Obviously on McCree here, on the Widowmaker on the attack.
I like this.
Wasn't as much this time around, catching Zonda unawares there with a quick flashbang to the face, but unfortunately they did turn out losing, which is really was the big surprise for us. Obviously Finland on the restart, they weren't able to cap out. They did struggle a heck of a lot, whereas you saw Zonda, the thing for me, Chinese Taipei, they were very efficient when they're attacking, whereas Finland were kind of like a bit of dribs and drabs.
Well, was that a little bit there of the organized play of a 5-man +1 team and the disorganized, or slightly less organized, it was by no means disorganized, play of a bunch of pros coming together?
Overall, I think this play style from the Asian teams, they've just proven that they just play a more synchronized style, very good team coordination. So I'm really looking forward to see what Chinese Taipei.
I think, it obviously helps with, 5 members of AHQ all being together, so it's a well-practiced, oiled machine, it seems.
I mean, there are 5 members, but at the same time, you're not seeing these guys going off on their own, trying to make flashy plays. You're seeing more a team just together, trying to make something happen.
This is where the game turned as well here. I mean, what you see on the screen. Now, Danny does get himself the tank mode ultimate, but look who comes spinning straight on through. Taimu there on that Reaper. And the best part about it is that Taimu does later on as well sort of start to change up his picks a little bit more. This is a situation, one of the few we saw Himsy switch towards the Genji. Now, people who know Linksa might find that quite strange, and it does seem as if that Finland feel or look to be a little bit hedged into some of those team roles, John.
Yeah, and that's of course one of the bad things about having to put Zini on the Lucio here, is that you have Mafu and Himsy on those flex and second DPS role. While you have Lynx on the tank. I would have liked to see Lynx maybe swap to that Genji instead. I mean, just put Himsy on a Winston, for example. I mean, it's something that's very doable, and you have Lynx, who's just a top 5 Genji in the world on a role he knows very well.
Yeah, we had a couple moments there where you guys really saw some impressive play from some of these guys, and I know, Mitch, you pointed out some of these.
Yeah, I mean, it's just something interesting to see as well. Reinhardt versus Reinhardt is a... Well, I mean, normally you would introduce something like this, right, of course, Johnny, but, you know, we talked about it a little bit as well, and I do want your thoughts on this one now as well. Knowing how to shield off that Earth Shatter. I actually think that this is something that Huck did quite well in his game for Canada, and actually is fairly good at doing. But we can roll this clip now as well and see this is actually Lynx coming forward now, attacking in towards Chinese Taipei. Now, note this as well. He's going to go for the Earth Shadow. Now, that shield was up. You notice that shield was technically up there, but the sound travels at 330 meters per second, right? You need to realize that this is actually a wave. This is actually a wave ability, right? This isn't instant. So even though your shield is up when the animation of the hammer coming down is there, it does go out in a bit of a cone, Johnny. You need to hold your shield up for a little bit longer than just the animation.
You need to hold it for a bit, 1 to 2 seconds there. I do feel a bit sorry for the tank. Sorry, I'm blanking out on his name.
Baby Knee.
Baby Knee, yeah. It sucks when that happens. I mean, but overall, I think we saw 2 good tanks, you know, with a great showing.
Absolutely, and there were some play. Thank you so much, by the way, for your pro player insight onto this. That's one of those things that when that happens to me in game, I'm like, what the hell this happened? Yep. So it's really important to think about these little details when you're playing at this level.
Mind games are real when you're dealing with Reinhardts, and then if you take into account like maybe there could be a flashbang thrown here or something like that. So you need a lot of mental fortitude to play that role out as well. And you know, when we watch Reinforce, we talk about the way he plays as well. A lot of people like he's quite aggressive, you know, but we talk about that's his
very
style as well.
Very skilled, so handsome, well, very pleasant to be around.
You don't need to think as much. You don't need to be that technical.
I never said that. I never said that. But I mean, the way that he plays out that tank role, very different to someone like Coco, for example, who plays really passively. And so all these things are very stylistic. But what's most important at the end of the day is that you know where the enemy Reinhardt is. You know about how much of that Earth Shadow they've got, or if they have that available, and then how to respond to that.
Well, let's talk a little bit about our DPS players, too. Taimu making huge steps in this game here, but totally supported by his team. I think some of the great plays on Lijiang Tower we saw from him. So do you have anything to speak to that?
I for one, really appreciated him swapping to that McCree. I disagreed with Finland for a while. They were sticking to that triple tank composition on Lijiang, despite facing a Mei Reaper composition. But Taimu really bringing out that McCree. I mean, it's just the perfect counter for both Reaper and for both Mei. So I really appreciate Taimu picking out that McCree and did a lot of work.
And that's actually something that Rogue really learned actually when they were over in China. We saw AKM actually start to play a lot more McCree, and all of a sudden they're looking a lot better. So a lesson learned, I guess, for those wondering how to deal with that quite strong lineup of having a Mei and Reaper that McCree can give them trouble from short, medium to long range.
Or it could just be like Twick and just bring out the Pharah, you know. It's an option as well, I'm just saying.
Hard mode, but
yes. Yeah, so I picked out a clip. If we could take a look at that.
Let's
talk about Danny. Danny was the man at the time, wasn't he? On the Mei, I believe.
Yeah. So here we see a fight. We're looking at the Chinese Taipei right now. They don't have a lot of ultimates. They just spent all their ultimates to win that final push on the second point here. And they used that Mei ult tactically very well. They're just standing back here. They're not going aggressive at all. They're making Finland go into them. They're just standing back and luring in. And they're buying so much time for this now to build these new ultimates, and then you get the Graviton Surge and you're just running through. So I think this is an example of Chinese Taipei just buying time with a Mei ultimate, and they're playing beautifully. And this is what I appreciate with Chinese Taipei here. They're standing back, they're taking the time, and they're just being very organized.
And it's something you obviously you allude to there, that that was, what, 50 seconds, I think, 40 seconds left before they actually hit the doorway. Now, Lynx actually switched from Reinhardt, which I'm not sure you'd be quite able to get away from this one. Switched away from Reinhardt and switched to Genji. I'm pretty sure Wins would give you some pretty flack for this
well,
if you did this. But yeah, you switched away and went to Genji.